Hi, this is New Time on Silkway TV, bringing you the most important news with context, perspective, and expert insights from Kazakhstan, Central Asia, and beyond. I am Yergali Ramazanule. Here are the stories making headlines this week. President Tokayev joins his Central Asian counterparts for an informal consultative meeting in Kyrgyzstan. More on the visit in just a few moments. Let the games begin. The world's biggest digital sporting event has officially kicked off in Astana. From packed arenas to high-tech competition, Kazakhstan has become the center of a new era in sport. We take you inside the games of the future. Historic victories on the world stage. Kazakhstan claimed its first ever team world title in fencing and topped the medal table at the Asian Age Group Artistic Swimming Championships. We bring you the highlights and the athletes' first exclusive reactions to the New Time team. Central Asia is strengthening regional cooperation, with its leaders gathering once again for high-level talks. That momentum is now backed by a landmark treaty on friendship, good neighborliness, and cooperation for the development of Central Asia in the 21st century. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev called it a new milestone in our strategic partnership. Right now, the president is in Cholpon-Ata, Kyrgyzstan, where the informal consultative meeting of the heads of state of Central Asia and Azerbaijan is underway. Trade, energy, transport, connectivity, tourism, and stronger regional ties are all high on the agenda. Our next report has more. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev received a traditionally warm welcome upon arriving in brotherly Kyrgyzstan, with national costumes, folk dances, and the country's renowned hospitality on full display. After sampling freshly prepared borsuk, the president joined his counterparts for the consultative meeting of the heads of state of Central Asia and Azerbaijan. While the setting was informal, the agenda was anything but. As President Tokayev noted, this format provides a valuable opportunity to discuss the region's most pressing issues and set priorities for deeper multilateral cooperation.
The intensity of contacts at all levels clearly reflects our country's shared commitment to constructive cooperation for the benefit of our brotherly nations and the prosperity of the entire region. A major achievement in this regard has been the completion of the signing of the Treaty on Friendship, Good Neighborliness, and Cooperation for the Development of Central Asia in the 21st century. This historic document marks a new milestone in our strategic partnership. It provides the political framework for regional cooperation based on mutual trust, respect, and responsibility for the shared future of our brotherly nations.
President Tokayev described this as the most successful period in Central Asia's modern history, crediting it to growing mutual trust and the steady expansion of cooperation. He said the region is playing an increasingly important role in global affairs, with its voice carrying greater weight on the international stage. As one example, he pointed to Kyrgyzstan's election as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. The president also thanked Turkmen leader Serdar Berdimuhamedov for joining the treaty, calling it another step towards stronger regional unity. And with Azerbaijan now participating as a full-fledged member of the consultative meetings, President Tokayev said the format itself has entered a new stage of development.
Thanks to our joint efforts, we are creating the conditions for an even deeper political dialogue, stronger cooperation in investment, energy and industry, and the development of a unified transport and logistics systems. Over the past several years, intra-regional trade has grown steadily, business ties have expanded, joint ventures have been established, investment projects have been implemented, and humanitarian contacts have strengthened. Cultural, educational, and youth exchanges are also taking on a new quality. All of these positive developments are bringing our brotherly nations closer together and strengthening the region's international standing.
The meeting concluded with the adoption of the Cholpon-Ata Declaration, reaffirming the commitment of the Central Asian states and Azerbaijan to stronger regional cooperation and long-term partnership. Yergali Ramazanule, New Time. At the invitation of Russian President Vladimir Putin, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev visited Omsk to participate in the 22nd Kazakhstan-Russia Inter-Regional Cooperation Forum. The leaders discussed key areas of their strategic partnership, while officials and business representatives focused on new joint projects in industry, logistics, energy and digitalization. The main takeaways in our next segment.
This is the third time Omsk has hosted the forum, returning to the city where it all began more than 2 decades ago. This year's discussion focused on building a unified transport and logistics ecosystem. The figures highlight why. Rail freight between Kazakhstan and Russia reached 92 million tons last year. Transit through Kazakhstan is also expanding rapidly. Container traffic along the China-Kazakhstan-Russia route has increased 8-fold over the past 5 years, surpassing the milestone of 1 million containers shipped. Road freight has also continued to grow, reaching nearly 8.5 million tons last year.
В текущих международных реалиях тема форума имеет исключительно важное значение.
Given today's international realities, the theme of this forum carries exceptional importance. Kazakhstan and Russia, sharing the longest continuous land border in the world, are destined to play a leading role in shaping the transport and logistics architecture of the Eurasia. This is a key factor in our country's global competitiveness amid today's complex geopolitical environment. Together, we are addressing every challenge in this field, consistently developing infrastructure and strengthening our transit potential.
В этой сфере последовательно развиваем инфраструктуру, укрепляем транзитный потенциал.
One symbol of that transit potential is the Irtysh River. Once a major shipping route in the last century, it's now returning to commercial use. Last year, it carried an oversized autoclave that could not have been transported by any other means. But the river's role extends beyond logistics, as it's also closely linked to Kazakhstan's hydropower ambitions.
The route we're discussing is actually multimodal, up to Lake Zaysan, then transferred onto rail toward China, since navigation isn't possible beyond that point. Right now we're studying the feasibility of building a second phase of the Shoba hydropower plant, which means working out where the counter-regulator will sit, and that will affect the river's course at its flows. It's possible we'll need to regulate it in some way, with locks. So all of these questions will be resolved as a package.
Необходимо будет каким-то образом регулировать его, понимаете, да, шлюзы ставить. Поэтому все эти вопросы, они в комплексе будут решаться.
Digital integration was another major focus. Kazakhstan proposed piloting a digital transport corridor with Russia, built on existing digital platforms. Border crossing would operate through a single window system.
Первая цифровизация – это
The first step in digitalization involves consolidating all cross-border services into a single window system. We're also planning to establish service zones at the busiest points, high-volume freight vehicle crossings. We call this staging areas or holding zones, where all preliminary procedures, customs, administrative, and so forth will be carried out. Once these procedures are complete, and provided the vehicle faces no objections from state authorities and has cleared all sanitary and phytosanitary checks, it proceeds to the actual checkpoint and crosses it in 5 minutes.
Далее идет на пункт пропуска и буквально за 5 минут пересекает данный пункт пропуска.
Officials are also looking to strengthen regional connectivity. President Tokayev proposed launching new direct flights between Astana and major Russian cities, alongside expanding cross-border tourism. Under the proposed 500-plus initiative, direct air links would gradually be introduced between Astana and the Russian border cities, with a population of more than 500,000. On the trade side, nearly a third of foreign invested companies in Kazakhstan are Russian, and turnover between the two countries grew 9.6% over the first 5 months of the year, putting the two leaders' target of $30 billion within reach. Almir Amirov, New Time.
Kassym-Jomart Tokayev used his face-to-face meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin to put forward a new proposal aimed at advancing efforts toward ending the war in Ukraine. The head of state suggested considering a freeze in the conflict and moving toward what he described as a long-awaited peace. President Tokayev proposed doing so by returning to what he called the Istanbul Formula 2.0, an updated version of the framework discussed during the early stages of the war. He also reiterated that he has viewed the situation as an interstate conflict from the very beginning, rather than a civil war.
We have always treated the Ukrainian people, their culture, and their language with great respect. The nature of this conflict has never been entirely clear to many people, including ourselves. This is simply my humble opinion, since I have been asked about it. Perhaps the time has come to freeze this conflict and return to the Istanbul Formula 2.0, because considerable progress was achieved there. From there, with the guarantees of the major powers, including Russia, it may be possible to move toward the long-awaited peace. This is a mechanism that has been tested in international practice. It is deeply painful to see young people losing their lives. They are the gene pool of the brotherly peoples of Russia and Ukraine.
The proposal later drew reactions from both Russia and Ukraine. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said that given Kyiv's current position, a freeze is not possible, adding that Russia's primary condition remains achieving its objectives. Ukrainian acting foreign minister Andriy Sybiha meanwhile welcomed President Tokayev's message, calling it realistic, timely and wise. More than 4 years into the war, fighting continues with no sign of easing. Russia has continued missile and drone strikes across Ukraine, while Ukraine has intensified long-range attacks on Russian energy and logistics infrastructure. 95% of Kazakhstan's exports to the United States will remain exempt from the new U.S. tariffs. Recently, Washington has introduced a 12.5% import duty on a limited range of Kazakh goods. But Kazakhstan's Ministry of Trade and Integration says the measure is expected to have only a limited impact on bilateral trade. The move comes as the U.S. expands its tariff policy globally, with nearly 99% of imports entering the country now subject to import duties. Around 60 trading partners have been affected by the latest measures, with tariffs ranging from 10 to 12.5%.
The previous temporary tariff of 10% is no longer in effect. This means it will not be added to the new tariff. According to our preliminary estimates, around 95% of Kazakhstan's export to the United States will not be affected. The exemption lists include Kazakhstan's main export products such as oil, uranium, silver, ferroalloys, tantalum, and titanium. The new tariff may affect several other products, including phosphorus, ferrosilicon, wheat gluten, and some optical products. Overall, we expect the tariff to have only a limited impact on Kazakhstan's export to the United States.
Games of the Future, the world's biggest digital sporting event, officially kicked off in Astana. Hundreds of athletes and thousands of fans gathered in the heart of Kazakhstan, as the country became only the third in the world to host the tournament. Speaking at the opening ceremony, President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev said the games are designed to bring people together and inspire new achievements. Our reporter has more.
Болашақ ойындары 2026 сайысын ашық деп жариялаймын.
With these words, President Tokayev officially declared the third Games of the Future open. Bringing together around 800 athletes from more than 30 countries, the tournament blends e-sport with traditional sports. The opening ceremony was attended by the presidents of Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan, reflecting the Games' grown international standing. In his opening remarks, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev highlighted sport as a force that unites people and nations.
Big sport has always been a vital bridge for uniting different cultures and bringing peoples and nations closer together. Therefore, amid growing global challenges, unique initiatives such as the Games of the Future are getting much deeper significance. I'm confident that the Games of the Future will become another golden bridge of unity, friendship, and solidarity between our nations.
Beyond the official speeches, the four official mascots of the Game of the Future 2026, here they are called Guardians, made their debut: Aybot, Arlan, Alem and Aylin. Each embodies one of the core values of digital sport: strength, strategy, technology and passion for the game.
Баршаға сәлем!
Біз болашақ ойындарының 2026 жылғы қаһармандарымыз.
The ceremony also featured performance by Kazakh artists, blending the country's cultural heritage with cutting-edge technology in a spectacular multimedia production. For organizers, however, Astana represents more than another host city. It marks the second Games of the Future to be held under the movement's global international ecosystem, raising expectation for every next host.
We use the phygital movement to introduce physicality into youth's lives that might be losing it because they spend so much time with video games. The reason to watch the Games of the Future is because of the wow factor. In the coming days, you're going to see a production value that is spectacular, and I think that it's natural to see that kind of excitement and the kind of drama when a competition crosses both a digital and a physical realm.
That vision comes to life through the phygital format, combining physical and digital competition into a single contest. Athletes compete across two stages, with points earned in a virtual game combined with a result from physical contest. The format bridges traditional sport and competitive gaming while creating fast-paced action throughout the tournament. Competition continues across 8 phygital disciplines as athletes battle for the title. Noraya Slobek, New Time.
The phygital basketball tournament was among the first competitions to get underway. Players begin in a digital simulation before moving on to the physical court, and that is just one of 8 disciplines featured at the Games of the Future. Almira Mirov has been following the action from the venues every day and is ready to show us what words alone cannot fully capture.
This entire arena feels like it's straight out of the future. The visual effects, the dynamic lighting and immersive music create a true cyberpunk atmosphere. And right behind me right now is the court where the teams from around the world will go head to hand. And isn't it just a traditional basketball court? It features only one hoop, where it's designed to mirror the virtual game that the guys are playing right now as closely as possible. 16 of the world's strongest phygital basketball teams are here on the court. The format has athletes carry their score from a video game stage into a physical basketball match, with a combined total of both stages deciding the winner. Some of the biggest names in the sport made the trip to Astana, including Boca Juniors, Valencia Basket and PBC Astana, all fighting for the championship title. For the next 6 days, an international panel of referees will be watching every shot, every point to keep it fair.
The level of physical contact is quite high. That's intentional, because it makes the discipline more exciting and entertaining for spectators. At the moment, our officiating team consists of 14 referees, including myself. The digital referees make sure every player uses their own personal account, doesn't use any cheats or unauthorized devices on their controllers, doesn't interfere with opponents, and doesn't tamper with their monitors. Most of the issues they deal with are disciplinary in nature.
Even the athletes themselves admit the infrastructure of the games in Astana is impressive. This is only the 3rd edition of the tournament, but the games has brought together more than 800 athletes from over 50 countries, a scale that already rivals the biggest multi-sport events in the world. And the message from organizers is the same one you hear from the players themselves. This isn't about replacing a sport with screens. Technology doesn't replace sport here, it complements it.
We were introduced to the games by our gaming federation in Croatia and esports federation, and we started preparing for contenders first in order to qualify here. We won contenders, so we're obviously hoping to repeat that here. The teams are very, very good, very high quality, so you never know what's going to happen, but the expectations are high and we want to do the best we can. Astana is a beautiful city. Everything is new, everything is clean, everything is beautiful, the people are very nice, and we're really enjoying it here.
It's not just fans following this tournament. Delegations from phygital federations around the world have come to Astana to see for themselves how Kazakhstan is hosting the games, and to take home some inspiration to one day bring their own national teams to this court.
To be honest, I am impressed. The facilities are amazing and they are sports worthy. The people are good, the food is good. I wasn't expecting To be honest, I wasn't expecting people to be so into, yes.
Any plans to participate and bring the Games of the Future to Nigeria?
Yes, that's a big one. That's a very, it takes a lot, but yeah, we're hopeful. We're hopeful, yes.
The Games of the Future, powered by Samruk Kazina, will run through August 9th. Athletes from around the world are competing across 8 phygital disciplines at 4 venues, including phygital basketball, football, shooter, dancing and fighting. Also, the games feature MOBA, PC and mobile, and Battle Royale. Almir Amirov, Nora Rafat Ungar, New Time.
And now it is time to check in on the latest developments from across Central Asia. This week brought new economic partnerships, closer regional cooperation and fresh international recognition for the region's cultural heritage. Joining me with the highlights is my colleague Nuray Salbiek. Nuray, what do we have this week?
Hello, Yergali. It was another week of stronger regional ties with countries expanding cooperation in trade, infrastructure, water management and culture. We begin in Aktau, where Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan signed commercial agreements worth more than 80 billion tenge. More than 80 billion tenge worth of commercial agreements were signed as Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan held the first meeting of the Council of Regional Leaders in Aktau. The new cooperation mechanism, established at the initiative of presidents of 2 countries, brought together Prime Ministers Olzhas Bektenov and Abdullah Aripov, as well as more than 300 business representatives from both countries. Alongside the commercial deals, region of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan signed a number of cooperation memorandums aimed at strengthening cross-border ties and launching joint projects. Speaking at the meeting, Prime Minister Olzhas Bektenov said the Council is expected to help achieve the goal set by 2 heads of state of increasing bilateral trade to $10 billion. Transport and logistics were identified among the key priorities for future cooperation. Both sides pointed to strategic importance of the Trans-Caspian International Transport Road and its connection with North-South Corridor and Trans-Afghan Road. Tourism also highlighted another promising area, with growing interest among citizens of both countries in visiting historical and cultural destinations. Meanwhile, trade between Kazakhstan and Tajikistan continues to gain momentum. During the first half of this year, bilateral trade reached $770 million, increasing by 40% compared to the same period of last year. According to Tajikistan Agency on Statistics, Kazakhstan is now the country's 3rd largest trading partner, behind China and Russia. Overall, Tajikistan foreign trade turnover exceeded 6.8 billion in the first half of the year, with 124 trading partners. The latest data highlight the growing role of economic ties between the 2 Central Asian countries as regional trade continues to expand. Water security remains one of the Central Asia's biggest shared challenges. In a move aimed at strengthening regional cooperation, the World Bank Group has approved a new $20 million project to improve the management of transboundary water resources across the region. The initiative will be implemented by the Executive Committee of the International Fund for Saving the Aral Sea and focuses on improving cooperation between countries that share the Amudarya and Sirdarya river basins. According to World Bank, the project is expected to benefit around 40 million people and lay groundwork for the future cross-border water infrastructure investments. By 2031, the plan is expected to develop up to 6 cross-border water infrastructure projects to attract further investment in irrigation, water conservation and joint management of shared water resources. Mongolia is continuing to expand its engagement with Central Asia. A key step in that effort was the state visit of Tajik President Emomali Rahmon to Ulaanbaatar, his first in 17 years. During talks with Mongolian President Ukhanagin Khalilzuk, the 2 leaders discussed ways to deepen bilateral cooperation and broaden ties between their countries. The visit concluded with the signing of 12 bilateral documents. The visit also featured the first meeting of Tajikistan-Mongolia Intergovernmental Commission and Trade and Economic Cooperation, a bilateral business forum, and the Days of Tajik Culture in Mongolia, reflecting efforts to strengthen not only political dialogue but also economic and cultural cooperation. The outcomes of the visit mark another step in Mongolia's broader outreach to Central Asia. Speaking of culture, Central Asia has gained 2 new additions to UNESCO's World Heritage List, with cultural landmarks in both Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan receiving international recognition. And it is 48th session in Busan, the UNESCO World Heritage Committee inscribed the modernist architectural ensemble of Tashkent, recognizing its outstanding cultural value and placing it under international protection. The committee also added Kazakhstan Mangistau Underground Mosque Complex to the World Heritage List, marking Kazakhstan's first addition to the prestige list in more than 2 decades. According to First Deputy Head of the Presidential Administration Erlan Karin, the recognition follows effort launched in 2024 to secure UNESCO status for the Mangistau sites. He also said Kazakhstan will continue pursuing World Heritage recognition for several other cultural landmarks, including Jarkent Mosque, the ancient cathedral in Almaty, the Karatau petroglyphs, and Abai's Book of Worlds. That's all I have for this week, Ergali.
Thanks, Nurai. That's our regional roundup. Kazakhstan has won its first ever World Championship gold medal in fencing. The men's épée team made history by defeating Ukraine 45-40 in the final at the World Fencing Championships in Hong Kong. The title capped a remarkable run with victories over Finland, Uzbekistan, Denmark and Egypt, securing Kazakhstan's first team World Championship in the sport. President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev congratulated the athletes, saying their triumph reflected the highest level of sportsmanship, resilience and teamwork, while further strengthening Kazakhstan's reputation on the world's sporting stage.
And that is it. Kazakhstan have made history. They've taken their first ever World Championship gold medal.
I think it really hit me when we stepped on the podium. They put the gold medals around our necks and we stood there singing the national anthem. I was singing and at that moment it really sank in. That's the moment I will always remember. Even during the final when we were fencing for gold, Vadim kept saying, I want to sing the anthem, I want to sing the anthem. And Vadim had made a promise too. I promised my daughter I'll bring home a gold medal. I couldn't do it in the individual event, but the guys had my back. They helped me make it happen.
And that's not all from the world of sports. Kazakhstan also finished first in the team standings for artistic swimming at the 12th Asian Age Groups Aquatics Championships in Thailand after winning a total of 48 medals. The national team delivered one of its best ever performances at the continental event. The Continental Championships were held from July 16th to 25th, with Kazakhstan represented by 111 athletes competing in multiple disciplines. The country's artistic swimmers secured the overall team trophy.
We're incredibly happy to have won a medal for the first time in 8 years. I believe our country is proud of this achievement and our sport will become known to more and more people.
На самом деле для наших атлетов это очень важно. Мы показали, что наши спортсмены готовы соревноваться с лучшими командами Азии.
This is very important for our athletes. We have demonstrated that Kazakhstan swimmers are ready to compete with the strongest teams in Asia, including China and Japan, and achieved top results by winning a significant number of medals from them. It shows that Kazakhstan has become a serious force in Asian aquatic sports. As a federation, we are working hard with the support of the Ministry of Tourism and Sports to implement programs that promote not only swimming, but all aquatic sports. Our goal is to inspire the younger generation to embrace a healthy lifestyle and become part of our growing aquatic family.
Победа наших атлетов сейчас стремилась к здоровому образу жизни и стремилась стать частью большой нашей такой водной семьи, скажем.
And that's it for today. Catch all the main news and special projects about Kazakhstan and Central Asia on Silkway TV channel and follow us on social media. Stay tuned for more and see you next week.